Welcome to Generation Digital Workforce, the podcast that's here to explore the role of robotic process automation and other digital technologies.
It sounds like the less experience you have up front and the more you kind of try to do it through your chair, it sounds like you're just inevitably going to create more technical debt than anything else.
Yeah, I love that word. Yep, exactly.
That's something that I learned from you.
It's a concept that we talk about at Ignite IPA all the time. This tool is so powerful, and that's the cool part about it. You can do almost anything with robotic process automation. And then I say this, that with great power comes great responsibility. It's the responsibility to kind of control, what we're developing. We talk about the technical debt all the time, and this is what I'm afraid of when I start off a new client engagement. They're like, I just want to do it on my own. Just sell me the licenses. Now, for me, that's think about it. It's like a golden goose. You just want to buy licenses and, have me walk away, go knock yourself out. I don't have to invest my time in that. Great. My whole point is to make clients self-sufficient. That's our whole operating model. At the Bank of New York, when I was leading that charge, I would have loved the consultant to come in and say, I don't want to dump 15 junior resources in your shop and have them learn on my dime. I want experience to come in, like training wheels, have you rolling, right? The analogy we use is like a rocket ship, right? You need all this heavy weight, investment up front. You need the fuel to ignite and get you off the ground. It's a really big process. And then just once I'm in orbit and I'm kind of floating, just kind of fall away, right? Just have the consultants just fall away. It's the analogy we're kind of using in the industry to describe what we want to do for clients to make them self-sufficient. And, it's very important to have that experience up front, a consultant that wants you to be, self-sufficient, and then just kind of fades into the background once you are. But in a technical debt discussion, if you don't have that experience, you're kind of fumbling through the process. And what happens is when you build a solution, you're building them without standards. And what I find is developers are creative by nature. That's why we love them. They're developers. They want to be creative in terms of the way they produce a solution. But what Blue Prism allows you to do is it allows you to use the technology to be creative to solve a business problem. You don't actually want a developer being creative in terms of how they use the tool, how they interact with systems. That should be standard so that if there's any changes in the operating model or the systems you're interacting with, anybody can pick up the code, jump in, make a small tweak, and have that change propagate to all the downstream processes. The reason I love Blue Prism is it's object-oriented. Right? If you make a change to the interaction with a system in one of the objects, it propagates to all the processes downstream. Right? But you need best practices to ensure people are using the tool the right way. And that comes with experience. And if you don't do that, the technical debt example comes in, where you're building all these bespoke solutions, interacting with the same systems, just in slightly different ways. And if you don't apply that reusable concept, right, best practices, and have kind of a governing body over the top of that, you might be creating more technical debt than it's worth. A lot of software implementation vendors that have their own out-of-the-box best practices, I'd argue that we have, some of the better ones, but to be honest with you, you need the concept of best practices.
And I actually think you'll find that that's not leveraged or utilized in organizations until they've either reached a level of technical debt that it shows the value of the platform, but they just rolled it out poorly in a way that, hey guys, you got to fix this or we got to figure something else out. Or, they just never really bought into it, never really added that extra level of control and governance to identifying these processes and saying no to automations, So I think that's a really big one. So thank you, obviously, for helping identify that, because I still tell clients today, and that one of the things we ask, well, who's responsible with the design authority? And most are like, design what? So. Yeah.
Developers are confident at their core, right? Why do I need someone governing the way I do things? And that's, with your standard Java, .NET developers, you're going to get somebody to push back on standards, right? Because they should be creative in the way they use their script coding, but it's just a little different. And that's, I think, why sometimes some developers struggle with that, and just they're overly creative with the way they use the technology. And that's really kind of against, the best practices in Blue Prism. And that's, it's part of the root cause as to why, why the design authority has so much pushback. But, if you can get over that hump, you really eliminate a lot of the technical debt that could be created.